Nah, imagine that shit. Imagine you driving, you listen to the radio, and you hear somebody diss you. I know that shit would be crazy.
I had a bad background just growing up as a child, so I had a rough past.
Against Lil Durk and his co-defendant appeared in court where
Lil Durk told us.
Lil Durk. Slide for Vaughn. You still haven't slid for Vaughn.
This is the outro to Lil Durk's 2021 single, Pissed Me Off, that was removed from the music video after the 5-0 Block members were arrested for Duck slaying on Oak Street.
Man, what? Do this Vaughn, do this with D-Thing. Pluto, you not a fucking rocker, man, you hear me? I don't do no talking on the internet, man. I don't got no fan base out here cause he respond. You know, man, stop playing, man. Y'all just don't be hearing about that shit. There ain't nobody in me. You know, in Chicago, they got spot news, you hear me? You know, phone call it flat news or mother. Better go check that, you hear me? Now, when you go check that shit, come holler at me. Let's get it. Man, what?
He goes on a reckless rant and tells his ops to check the news because retaliation for his brother's slaying was well and truly in motion.
The night my brother died, if you was there, just know you too. Asked the ops from over west, next day they ass was down too.
Lil Durk has never shied away from putting his ops on wax. The first sign of this I could find came on March the 28th, 2012, as Lil Durk would drop the music video to his street banger, L's Anthem, which had everybody in the city throwing up L's and singing along as Lil Durk dissed Lil Jojo's GD set, Brick Squad, and his cousin Lil Mr's set, Wooga World.
Brick Squad, I say Wooga World with him, so
And whether he realized it or not, L's Anthem success on the radio would change the dynamics of the war in Chicago, as music would be used as the means to form alliances.
So everybody be talking about shorty. He a little ass boy. He don't even have nothing to do, nothing. It's them we into it with, you know what I'm saying? And the only reason they associated because they click. That's why we click with FBG.
This deceased ops, even if it meant your blood cousin.
Saying you want to be like my cousin. You know what I'm saying? You want to be like Durk. If I call blood. You feel me? I hit
Whoa. You said Durk your cousin?
Yeah.
And yo, homie sister. Even though that's folks' cousin, man, little miss.
And using rap money to fund retaliatory efforts from the comfort of your $1 million house in Atlanta. In this video, I'll pull back the curtain on Lil Durk's role in the war in Chirac and how he left Chicago alive while some of his ops, closest friends, and siblings weren't so lucky. March the 28th, 2012. Lil Durk would drop one of Chicago's most infamous diss tracks, L's Anthem. People apparently couldn't turn on the radio without hearing Lil Durk big up his OTF 300 crew while dissing Brick Squad in Wooga World. The music video would quickly amass 1 million views on YouTube, and as legend has it, when Joseph Coleman heard Lil Durk dissing Brick Squad on the radio, he would take it upon himself to respond in the most disrespectful manner imaginable by dissing every black disciple in Chicago.
He didn't really want to rap until he heard Lil Durk's song, that L's Anthem. Cause we heard it on the radio, like we driving, you know? It was me and him, I remember we driving, boom. He said, Brick Squad, we say f*** them. Like this on the radio, fool, you know what I'm saying? You right, you talking about what's on the radio.
Nah, imagine that shit. Imagine you driving, you listen to the radio, and you hear somebody diss you. I know that shit would be crazy.
Yo.
Especially back in them times, it wasn't even social media for real yet. Like, that's just crazy.
Man, he went crazy, fool, he ain't like that.
And on April the 28th, Lil Jojo would drop 300K, using the same beat Young Chop had made for Chief Keef's Everyday. 300K was a diss song aimed at everyone rapping 300, from Lil Durk, Lil Reese, and Sosa. And if that wasn't enough, he'd also dub himself and his Brick Squad set as BDK, essentially declaring war on anybody in the city who claimed to be a member of the Black Disciples.
What happened when that song dropped?
It was going crazy. Everybody who's BDK was coming out the woodworks, like, we BDK too, you know? Like the city was just dividing. Fast too, bro.
The music video for 300K would quickly shoot up to 15 million views on YouTube, essentially putting a target on Lil Jojo's back. And the BDs were looking to end Joseph Coleman before it was too late.
That was legit when this was happening, bro. I remember. They was like, oh, Chief Keef killer Jojo Keef. I'm like, Chief Keef, I'm legit, bro. I'm like, yo, this kid killed Lil Jojo over a song. Like, it's like, I ain't peep what was really going on, but like, I knew what was going on.
What was the O Block reaction to that song? What like, the initial reaction was, he finna.
And as the success of 300K rapidly grew, Lil Jojo's actions would get a lot more reckless, from threatening a Chief Keef lookalike in his music video for Tied Up, to posting up on Dog Pound's blog a BD set rapped by Lil Durk's brother, D-Thang.
Yeah, say first on Dog Pound, BDK.
As all of this attention came Lil Jojo's way, he couldn't help but feel like death was creeping up on him. As now leaked text messages show Lil Jojo pleading to meet up with the girl before the streets could have a chance to take away his life, as it had already taken so many of his friends away from him. And on September the 4th, 2012, after catching Lil Reese hanging out on his block and exchanging disses from the backseat of a car, at 5:02 p.m, Lil Jojo and Swag De Niro would take to Twitter to clown Lil Reese, and an hour later, he would post this now infamous tweet exposing his whereabouts for everybody to see. And shortly after 7 p.m, Lil Jojo is seen on surveillance footage sitting on the handlebars of a bicycle, constantly looking back. That's when 3 cars came speeding down on Princeton Avenue. A grey Ford Taurus, a car allegedly owned by Lil Durk, rolls down the window, lets off 6 shots towards Lil Jojo, with one hitting his right flank. He would succumb to his injuries 2 hours later and pass away at a hospital.
Doctor come out, he like, man, mother and brother. Like, it was real like the movies, you know what I'm saying? Like, he took me to the room, he said he got back once. He got one time, fool, and that from his back, from far away. And it went through both sides of his heart. Damn. Don't make no sense to me.
The man who was riding the bicycle would be seen fleeing the scene westbound as all 3 cars drove away east. And as news of Lil Jojo's demise spread throughout Chicago, every single BD would take a second to celebrate Lil Jojo's tragic demise, from Chief Keef, G Herbo.
Yeah, man, my nigga Moody gonna be Lil Jojo for Halloween. I get on the JoJo bill? Hey, who's gonna be for Halloween this year? JoJo? Can I get on?
And future drill superstar, King Von.
You know, me and King Von on our JoJo. We on our JoJo shit today. Stretch gang out.
And as time went on, Lil Jojo's mother would make an appearance on the news alongside Swag De Niro, demanding justice for her son and naming Chief Keef as the alleged perpetrator in her son's passing.
Who do you think is responsible for your son's?
Chief Keef.
You believe he himself pulled the trigger?
I don't believe himself pulled the trigger. I believe he paid somebody to do it.
But while Sosa denied having a hand in Jojo's passing, one man from O Block was taking all the responsibility for Jojo's hit, even tattooing Jojo K on his upper chest. His name was Ray Rilla.
They talking about some get Ray Rilla alive. What, that's Ocho?
They said get Ray Rilla alive. Ray Rilla, they want you alive.
I spank whatever, however you want it. O Block Ray Rilla. O Block Ray Rilla, aka JoJo K. Look it up, you can find it. Ain't hard on day. Picture of JoJo on the cover. Picture of Coleman on the cover.
Whether Ray Rilla was responsible or not is entirely speculation, but Swag De Niro would post on Twitter in the following months claiming that the man responsible for ending Jojo's life had passed away. The man was a member of 600 called Kiki. On May the 16th, 2012, Lil Mister would drop the music video to Like He On Something, and in the song, he has a few words directed to his cousin, Lil Durk.
Lil Durk, don't diss again, or you a boy. I'ma keep this shit 100, you ain't with the shit, boy.
Durk would respond by tweeting
I remember them days.
telling him
that shit would be so ass right now.
But besides his
but
cousin,
then, that
Lil
shit
Mister
was
also had an agenda with someone closely linked to Lil Durk's OTF crew, Mimo 600.
Lil Mister, check it out!
As rumor has it, Lil Mister and Wooga World affiliates got into a high-speed car chase with Mimo 600, where he crashed his car and then fled the scene on foot, an incident he and Lil Mister would allude to on Instagram Live.
What's going on, man? Y'all tell Mimo, man, go get his car back, man. Man, he looking too BD'd out here, you know? Right? You know? Hey, Mimo, you fast than a motherfucker, man. Joseph Colvin. Yo, fast, boy.
He said I ran from Lil Mister. Hell yeah, I ran. They was 4 deep in the car. You know how you try to hit a corner too fast? I hit the corner too fast. On Lusty, I hit somebody's whole house, the front porch.
And on March the 15th, 2019, with a rap career that was slowing down, Lil Mr. was on the 7400 block of South Harvard Avenue, and at 7:15 p.m., a black vehicle drove by and a man inside rolled down the window and let off multiple shots towards Lil Mr., where he was hit and would later succumb to his at the University of Chicago Medical Center. Mimo 600 would go on IG Live following the news of Lil Mr.'s passing, blasting Lil Durk's Sharakhamoni in the background as fans would flood the comments asking why Mimo 600 ended Lil Mr.'s life.
Man, I fell down to my knees when the law came. I can't go like me in the hallway. I'd rather go out just like we gon' take them off.
R.I.P. Lil Mr.
As a VFX artist, my world can be anything I want it to be.
He died on that corner. He died in the hood where like he wasn't supposed to be in because that was famous as and nobody took him out. It's a lot of famous and they don't get took out and then they get took out.
And on Lil Zay Osama's My Cousin, Lil Durk would reference Lil Mr.'s passing, rapping. King Von would also participate in dissing Lil Mr. as he posthumously rapped.
Yo, homie, sister, even though that's folks, cuz, man, Lil Mr.
And while J Hood has claimed that King Von was responsible for Lil Mr.'s passing,
Say Von said his homie think he killed his cousin. Von did kill Durk cousin.
there hasn't been any convictions in this case. On May the 5th, 2013, Lil Durk would bless the streets of Chicago with his anthem, This Ain't What You Want, his first song as a Def Jam signee and the lead single to his album, Signed to the Streets. And while filming this music video, Lil Durk would gather around his friends to take this picture, alongside superstar drill producer Young Chop, Durk's cousin OTF Newski, Mr. GDK himself Polo, then Chicago drill superstar Rondo No. 9, Durk's brother D-Thang, Lil Vernie, Booney Mo, and of course, Lil Durk's former friend turned op, Mobu Crump, who would quickly develop a habit of dissing OTF Newski and Durk's manager, OTF Chino, from confessing to pissing on D-Thang's resting place to invalidating Durk's claim to being the king of Chicago after his close associates Newski and Chino both got killed buying shoes and food.
They order for Newski. Chino burger. Chino burger. Yeah.
They left his ass up here on folks and them tweaking. Buying some shoes. Y'all see real be up here though. Play with me up here on folks and this building on the news. I look like Newski.
And after the filming of the music video, a series of events would befall Chicago's South Side, forever changing drill as we know it. From Durk's cousin passing away, Lil Vernie ending up paralyzed on a wheelchair, Durk's manager Chino passing away, the huge brawl at T.I.'s meet and greet in 2015, 051 Melly's tragic demise at a house party, and Mobu Crump having his life taken away to Durk's pleasure after a former friend had turned into a disrespectful op. On March the 25th, 2014, 051 Young Money rapper Lil Mark would drop No Competition, a bold response to Lil Durk's track Competition with Lil Reese, where Lil Mark takes shots at deceased 300 members, including Wick City's O.D. Perry, 600's D-Thang, not to be confused with Lil Durk's brother D-Thang from Dog Pound, O-Block's J Money, and stating that he's been drilling for 10 years. Nonetheless, Lil Mark would end the song off by dubbing himself as 300K, a gesture Lil Durk had warned against on This Ain't What You Want. And he'd have an ominous back and forth with Lil Reese.
What y'all on?
Alright. That L shit. Uh-huh. What up? Out here. I'm on fast, boy. I been out here. I stay out here, boy.
And literally 3 days after Lil Mark dropped No Competition, on March the 28th, 3 days before his 21st birthday, Lil Mark was standing at a bus stop on East 51st Street where a vehicle would pull up, a man jumps out and unloads multiple, hitting Lil Mark's head and flees the scene.
Lil Mark talking to Lil Reese on FaceTime, and then the clip ends up being on the diss video. But now let's just address the obvious. You can't be beefing in Chicago and have a bus pass. You gotta have a gang car or something.
That's DJ Academics, bruh.
You gotta have a courtesy bulletproof gang whip.
And minutes after the hit, 300 affiliates like THF Twiller, D-Rose, and King Von would drive to the scene, seemingly mocking Lil Mark's passing and using this moment to taunt the wise over on 051.
It's a 2 on 51st. Body down.
Body down, 51st gang.
And days later, Def Jam signee Lil Durk would make his way to Lil Mark's crime scene to do some more taunting of his own.
Bus stop, man. Hey, this bus stop right here, though. This a real famous place. Yeah, this a real famous place, B. Hey, this bus stop, this a real famous place, B. I ain't gonna lie to you.
In May 2013, after the release of This Ain't What You Want, Mobu Crump and drill legend King Louie were slowly starting to distance themselves from the OTF crew. Crump also had a recording in his possession of Lil Reese almost admitting to choking Lil Durk as tension was brewing within the OTF circle.
Nah, I been knew you was going on with Durk. I was right there when you choked Durk. You telling me I don't know what's going on. One thing I do know is you would slap one of these, then you would choke one of these, like on Dro, I know that.
And as OTF members heard through the grapevine that Mobu Crump was clicking up with a BD renegade set called 051 Young Money, which had a long-standing war with THF, a BD set wrapped by one of Lil Durk's closest affiliates, THF Bezu.
Was your jaw broke?
Yeah, my shit was broke. I never had wires though.
Cause you run your mouth and a nigga broke that jaw cause you a...
Stop that, man.
You was just in
look.
the county. Hey, baby,
Hey,
you was just in the county for $75,000 bond, bro.
OTF Newski was quick
That
to
shit
crowd
crazy
Crump,
how, like, bruh.
which ended up in an ominous back and forth on social media as Newski told
That shit was about to be so police.
he was going to die soon for running his mouth. But unfortunately, on the 31st of May 2013, a mere 2 days after signing a lucrative recording deal in an effort to stay off the streets and focus on music,
Man, just working. I'm in the studio 24/7, you hear me?
Yeah.
Man, stay out these streets, man. Much rough out here, you hear me? You get caught lacking, it's all bad for your way, you know?
OTF Newski was sitting in his car on the 700 block of East 87th Street when a man walks up on him, unloads 6 shots at Newski, and then flees the scene. With Durk arriving at the scene minutes later, getting a chance to see the gruesome aftermath where Newski's mother would put the blame of her son's passing on Lil Durk.
Newski, RP Pat.
Okay. So tell me about your right hand.
Blood cousin.
Yeah.
Chicago.
I ain't know what to say. I know he was there when they put out the tag. That shit was a shame. He did right in front of me. Auntie said I'm a snag.
And as OTF members mourned the passing of Newski, it was the perfect time for Mobu Crump and the 051 Young Money set to inflict more pain towards Durk by dissing Newski.
Historic events. Wish you would play with me, boy. I look like Newski. He ran into this though. He ran into the children's place like a big pokes now. Goof. No, what do I look like Newski? What you talking about?
Almost a year after Newski's tragic passing in Chicago, paramedics would rush to a restaurant on South Stony Island at 1:35 a.m. to respond to of Lil Durk's manager, OTF Chino. This comes hours after he was in the company of Chicago Bulls center at the time, Joakim Noah, discussing their anti-violence initiative, Rock Your Drop, which planned on combating the rising gang amongst young men in Chicago. And now all that had to be put aside to begin preparations for his funeral.
Hours after meeting with Chicago Bulls basketball player Joakim Noah to talk about a anti-initiative. Now, listen, man, because apparently he went to go get some food and he went to the south side of Chirac with his girlfriend, and I'm thinking, well, what? The south side of Chirac? Listen, you don't go there to get food. That's where niggas don't pack their lunches, get smoke on packs for lunch.
This nigga academics, bruh.
Where
Yo.
were you at when you found out about the news?
Studio.
And you know, how did you feel at that moment?
Yeah, I was sick. Like when stuff like that type of stuff happen, bro. It hit you so hard, you be confused, really. Like, hell no, ain't real. You know what I'm saying?
051 Millie would tweet minutes
You wanna throw up for real.
after the hit, claiming it was get back for Lil Mark's passing the previous year. And it was just about time for Crump to grab his phone, hit record, and start dissing OTF Chino, hoping to get under Durk's skin.
I just grabbed all of my food. Y'all got that order for Newski? Chino burger. Chino burger. Yeah. Y'all got it? We OTFK all the way in Paris. I'm trying to let my know.
Chino, what I'm sipping?
You sipping on Chino? Hey, that's crazy.
Hell
you
yeah.
sipping Chino, I'm sipping Newski. That's crazy. Hey,
skin my cup.
For real on folks.
In September 2015, T.I. would arrange a meet and greet at a local clothing store in Chicago, giving the residents a chance to interact with one of the biggest rap acts at the time. Lil Durk and his OTF crew were in attendance. King Louis, Mobu Crump, and Rose City would also make an appearance. And moments later, 051 Millie would walk in as he stared at Lil Durk and laughed. This is the guy who had been allegedly snatching chains from rappers across the city and who allegedly fatally shot OTF Chino and Newski. And when Lil Durk and 300 affiliates realized King Louis and Mubu Crump had clicked up with 051 Millie, fists would start flying.
The door open. Yarmil walking that bitch. We look, he laughing. We look at Louis and them like, oh, y'all brought him up here? That's when like, it was like, oh, y'all picked y'all side. Right after that, we got the beating the shit out there.
T.I., he held a special meet and greet with fans. People don't take timeouts on their gang beefs. He's been talking shit on the Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter for years. So when these people see each other, they gotta act up on their threats just to increase their social media clout. Crump, everybody, I think I mentioned this guy before. He's on the video. Apparently he gets hit or something like that. We even have Lil Durk on the video. They're guarding Lil Durk like Lil Durk is Barack Obama and they're the Secret Service.
When the dust settled and the police managed to separate the two gangs, pictures of King Louis in the hospital would surface on the internet as he was allegedly hit by a truck. And D-Dang would take to social media to address the brawl and issue a public apology to T.I. and the clothing store for the mayhem they had caused.
I want to give a special mother to my brother Henry from the shop, man. The shop 147.
You talking about Crump? Why the was you running? Wrong with Louis too, man. Crump and Louis.
So congratulations to everybody in the fight yesterday, man. You did not pull out a gun, man. Kudos to you, man. I'm actually proud of you guys. Everybody else saying bad things. I'm actually proud. Good job.
Feel protected under our roof so you can enjoy your dreams. American Family Insurance.
Fellow elites, now that we've made travel so expensive, this world famous.
After all the tweets dissing Durk's fallen partners and taunting his ops on Instagram, just when you thought he couldn't get any more disrespectful, on April the 17th, 2018, Mubu Crump drops OTFK, making a bold vow to K any OTF member that crosses his path. A common theme Durk's ops like Lil Mark, Lil Mister, and Lil Jojo had used in the past to provoke him. He also disses Bobo, Newski, OTF Chino, and claiming that he and his gang put Lil Venny the Muscle in a wheelchair.
Hey, Vern, you better do this, bro. I'm supposed to put you in that thing. You gotta learn how to use it, bro. You gonna be that forever. Because if you get out of it, we put you back in, kid.
And a month after OTFK dropped, on the night of May the 27th, 2018, Mubu Crump would attend a party on the 6800 block of South Morgan Street. He would step outside with a cup in his hand and post for a picture alongside none other than 051 Millie. The picture would be posted on social media shortly after, and in the early hours of May the 25th, a vehicle would drive by Millie and Crump as they were standing outside. A man rolls down the window and unloads a barrage of shots, hitting Crump's arm and torso, with Millie being hit 5 times in his arm and being grazed by a bullet in the head. Both men would be rushed to the hospital, where Millie, the intended target, would fortunately survive, but 32-year-old Crump would unfortunately succumb to his injuries. As news regarding Crump's passing spread around Chicago, Memo600 would post a picture of Crump after he got shot with the caption that read, "Get up, Craig." 2 years after Crump's passing, Lil Durk would drop his 6th studio album titled The Voice, and on Raid Man, he raps.
They ask me what I'm gonna do about Crump.
And on the 1st of September 2018, 4 months after surviving the attempt on his life, 051 Millie was at a party on 61st and St. Lawrence, where a man pulls out his weapon and fires multiple shots towards Millie, where this time he wasn't so fortunate, succumbing to his injuries moments later.
Damn. Everybody like, comment, subscribe.